Folks, welcome to an all-new episode of So Bad It's Good. This is your pal Ryan, and this is your Thursday episode. And let me be more specific. This is one of two episodes that we are releasing today. This is the Valley recap of this week's The Valley episode. Just a quaint trip to Santa Barbara. Nothing weird happened in this episode at all. These are all very responsible adults that can handle their liquor. So we're going to do a full recap of the Valley. But there's another episode we're releasing today in celebration of the return of The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives on Hulu. All 10 episodes of the second season has dropped as of now. And we have 4 of the wives with us on the other episode that we're going to release today. But I realize a lot of you might not even be watching the Mormon Wives or have caught up yet. So consider the Mormon Wives episode. I want you all to listen to it because I think it's excellent. It was so awesome, and it's really challenging to interview 4 people and try to make that work. And I was really happy with the result. But consider that evergreen. You can listen to that at any point. You can dive into The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives and then listen to that interview. But I want to make you aware that it is there and also that all 10 episodes are streaming, okay? So we got that out of the way. Now, guess what my dumbass did yesterday? I thought Wednesday's episode was pretty dang great. And I was so proud of myself because I got it done on Tuesday night. And I got it all edited, loaded up to the megaphone that, you know, you load it and then it goes to like iTunes and all, or iTunes, Apple Pods and Spotify and all that good stuff. And I wake up today and I get a text from Maritza around 9 a.m. saying, "Hey, what happened? Are you not feeling good?" And it stayed in the drafts. I didn't hit publish. And I was so flippin' happy with myself that I got it done. And then I went on to like write some emails. I made a TikTok. I was super productive. I was like high on life. I was like, man, I am getting this down. It has only taken 5 years, but I am a podcasting machine. So I want to apologize to you. I know some people like to listen to it super early in the morning, like 5 or 6. I know that sounds crazy, but we do have those people. And I apologize to you that we were not there. The episode was done. It's just that in my old age, I'm slipping, folks. I'm slipping, but not today with this Valley recap. We are going to go full systems go. There is a lot of pop culture happening right now. We did an update on the Diddy trial the first 2 days. The third day of testimony was today, and it was horrific. If you thought the first 2 days were bad, this third day, which we're not going to go over right now, we'll probably go over on the Pop Culture Roundup on Monday. And I want to wait to see how the rest of the week kind of finishes out. But it is just really horrific to hear Cassie talking about the 10-year relationship she had with Diddy. Yeah. I mean, it makes Jesse getting his toe sucked in Summer House look just so innocent. It was really, really disgusting stuff. We also had Kim Kardashian. She was over in Paris to testify against the people that burglarized her of all of those diamonds years and years ago. She showed up in Paris. I'm sure the reality show cameras were in tow. We got to talk about that on Monday. And we also got to talk about the trailer that was released for Kim Kardashian's all new Ryan Murphy series, All's Fair. All's Fair? Is that what it's called? Yeah. The trailer is completely ridiculous. And that doesn't mean I don't like it. It's just completely ridiculous. It's very Ryan Murphy. It's very Kim Kardashian. And it has like an all-star cast of like Glenn Close and Sarah Paulson and Teyana Taylor. I mean, it is stacked. Naomi Watts, for the love of God. And it is just so interesting to see what movement Kim's face has through all of the Botox. And I know she says she doesn't really get anything, but you know, come on, big wink there, right? So that's happening as well. But so many pop culture stories. The one I do want to talk about briefly before we dive into this episode, because I want to really get into the meat of it, is HBO. That's right, folks. You know your brand is strong when you get close to 150 messages saying, "Hey, I thought of you today when I saw this." And I will tell you, usually I get it with like, if somebody sees like a random Counting Crows post, which by the way, the Counting Crows new album came out this past Friday, shot to the top of the charts, I'm sure. But everybody was very excited because HBO, which is now called Max, made the big announcement today that it is going back to the moniker of HBO Max. This is the most idiot. It is giving new Coke. It is. By the way, if you've listened to this podcast over the last 2 years, I think I've bitched each month about the fact that it's called Max. I think it is the most ridiculous thing, and it was almost a shunning of the HBO legacy, which I think is a damn fine legacy. And they almost said, well, we think it's too Tiffany. It's too nouveau riche for people, and it's too classy in a way. So we're going to call it Max. And I just thought that was the dumbest thing of all time. And this is because of David Zaslav, the corporate leader behind this entire conglomerate that owns Max, or HBO Max now. So HBO started as HBO in like 1979, 1980, I think in that ballpark. And then in 2008, they started HBO Go. Do you guys remember? All my old HBO heads, remember HBO Go? And then in 2015, they did HBO Now. And then in 2020, they did HBO Max. And then in 2023, they were like, you know what? Let's get rid of HBO entirely and just call it Max. And now they have finally wisened up, and they are going back to HBO Max. I think I am so, by the way, I needed that shot in the arm. Listen, so many things are going wrong lately, but this is a positive step. This is a positive step. This is very positive for me, and I was very thrilled. Now, the next goal is just to get rid of that Max and just go back to HBO. I think the brand recognition is off the charts. Now, if you are interested in nerdy stuff like this, like I am, there's a great book about the history of HBO that I read a couple of years ago. It's called Tinderbox by James Andrew Miller. James Andrew Miller is a fantastic writer, and he's done other books of this sort where it is, it's oral histories of certain topics. He did a great one about Saturday Night Live. He did one about ESPN. He's just done so many amazing books throughout his career. But Tinderbox, it is a very long book, but I found it so fascinating because the history of HBO is really interesting. It really ushered in this kind of home box office where you were able, between this and VCRs, were able to get first-run movies in your home, and then they broke into original programming. And think about it. I mean, from Sex and the City come on, who aren't big R-list fans out there? Where are my R-list fans out there? I don't know if you remember the show Dream On with Brian Benben. These are all shows that I remember from my childhood, and I had a weird memory so I could remember all of this stuff. And then they kind of ushered in a new age of television with The Sopranos, and then Game of Thrones, 6 Feet Under. I mean, there were so many, and there are so many amazing HBO shows. So I was super, super excited about this. And I'm curious because there are so many changes, even with Bravo. Remember, like NBC Universal owns Bravo, and then they split off because there was like this Comcast merger, and then Versant has split, and they're taking like stations like E and things like this. But Bravo is remaining with NBC Universal Comcast because they really believe in the Bravo brand. But I mean, TV is it just seems wild. But I'm waiting to see if HBO Max, as we're now calling it, if they're going to get rid of like their Discovery content of, because you can always find Sister Wives or Dr. Pimple Popper or any of the 90 Day Fiancé shows. So I'm curious if that's what I always found kind of ridiculous, because I'm a guy that can vacillate between trash. And I don't consider 90 Day Fiancé trash, but I'm very aware of what I'm watching. And so there are more highbrow things, and then there are lowbrow things. And they were all on the Max home screen. And so now I am curious where they're going to go. Where are they going to go from here? And if they're going to take off that content and just do like premium highbrow things, and then go back. Remember, like Discovery had a streaming service as well. God, just so many streaming services. And it's really scary when the people in charge do not know what they're doing. From TV networks to government, it's very scary when you're like, I'm paying you money. Just give me my shows. I want to watch I do not care. I just want to watch Sister Wives, which, oh my God. The last 2 episodes of Sister Wives, if you're a Sister Wives head, whoo, so bloody sad with the passing of Garrison and the way they're tackling that. And you really do. I even have empathy for Cody Brown, which you don't say a lot if you're a Sister Wives fan. But the way they've handled that, I think, is very delicate. And very respectful, especially for a reality series. Okay, so anyways, just wanted to share that good news with you. Thank you to everyone that reached out. I'm so happy that you did. I keep opening DMs where I'm like, oh, it's another one congratulating me on HBO Max. Thank you. So, and then finally, just so you know, went to the dentist for the second time. We had a deep cleaning, which was so painful, and they were doing like, what is it called? Gum planing, where they're going like inside the gum. And then I have another dentist appointment now next week to deal with this issue I'm having on the left. Anyways, it doesn't even matter. The fact is, I went to the dentist, and also we're on day 8 of my health journey. I went to a trainer on Monday, and he set me up with a program, and I actually took myself to the gym today, and I lifted weights by myself. The worst fear in the world is that a So Bad It's Good listener will see me at this gym crying and moaning to myself. But I took myself to the gym, and then I watched Summer House tonight, which we'll have on Friday's episode. This Jesse Solomon. Yeah, I'll tell you, this Jesse Solomon. But yeah, it was a good overall day. I'm feeling good, and I hope you're feeling good as well. So thank you for being here. I've started work on the Q&A episode for Patreon, and then also the Patreon, we also now recap the Valley After Show. And my God, the Valley After Show today, it was 33 minutes long. These things are lengthy, and there is so much good information in it. This Jax Taylor, it's like every time you start to feel a little bit of empathy for Jax, you are reminded of something horrible he's doing in the moment. And listen, I think with Brittany, I'm seeing a lot of things online of like, girl, you got to chill out. Like, we don't know until we're in that situation how you're going to act. And then I would imagine if you have cameras on you, that's a whole nother layer of ridiculousness that you throw onto very real situations, which, you know, we should study the brains of reality stars at some point, because there's got to be just something a little different than the rest of us have in our brains, because it's one of those things like, you know, they want this low level stardom, but at the same time, they are monetizing grief. At the same time, they're really feeling grief, which is very real to them. But at the same time, I want to caution everybody when they talk about these things, myself included, is that, listen, there is not a perfect victim. We had this conversation so much on the last season of Vanderpump Rules in regards to Ariana, and I saw really people speak both ways about it. And I think overwhelmingly they were in support of Ariana, but I did see enough where it was anti-Ariana for some reason. And I'm starting to see that with Brittany as well. And in no way am I comparing Ariana and Brittany, but I will say we do go through things in life, and nobody can be perfect. Nobody can do exactly what you think you would do in that situation. Even with Michelle. Now, Michelle did do something wrong if you go by the rules of quote unquote marriage, in the fact that she did cheat on Jesse. But you also have to look of what gets you to that point. And you also have to think, if I was married to a man like Jesse Lally, how would I handle it? I know he's really funny on TV, and he's really, you know, there's a charm there. I'm not ignorant of that fact. And I do laugh when I watch Jesse Lally. I don't want him going anywhere. And I will say he is more dynamic to watch than Michelle. But at the same time, I empathize way more with Michelle, where it's like, dude, I just don't want to deal with you. Yet she has chosen to be on a reality show with him, and he has chosen to be on a reality show with her. So anyways, just some opening thoughts. Let's cut to a commercial, and then we'll be right back to start the recap of the Valley. Happy Thursday, folks. Okay, let's get into this. We have not done this, I think, for the last couple of weeks, but I feel like this is an appropriate time to get everybody juiced, to get everybody ready for an energetic recap, or to get myself ready for an energetic recap. Now, the Valley's theme song, I really can't find it anywhere. I've done a deep dive on who the hell has written and sings this song, but it has come up very short in all of the research. So if you know, let me know. But the song is basically like, I'm all right. Everything is all right. And obviously the joke is nothing is all right over in the Valley. Nothing is all right with any of these people. I mean, a couple people have a few good weeks, but everything is so wrong. And I think that is the joy of watching the Valley. But until then, I have petitioned to have Raise Your Glass, the Vanderpump Rules theme song, as a fill-in theme song for the Valley. I think that would actually be really good until the new season of Vanderpump Rules starts, and then they can have their theme song back. But today, let's listen to this together as a family and get pumped up, because I'm telling you, folks, this song, it's just going to keep getting stronger as the years go on. I mean, think of it. This song has been around since 2012, and it just keeps getting better. Every year, it keeps getting stronger. Let's go. Oh! Imagine me the drummer on this.
Light up the sky, burn it up like a candle. When life
Robot voice. And then serotonin right here. Serotonin. This is the new theme song to the Valley. Danny and Luke and Jesse. Doute is pregnant. Jax is in a mental health facility. Jesse Lally gets water thrown on him. Michelle is not an escort. Brittany is having a ladies' weekend. If I was a stripper, this is what I would dance to. I swear to God. I usually stop here, but I'm going to keep going. I can't believe you're cold. I can't believe that. Make this one count, folks. It's like you're climbing on a roller coaster. Up, 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 up. Down. Boom. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Holy moly. Oh my God. I've got goosebumps are you feeling that? You're feeling that as well. That's not just me. What a great way to start this recap of the Valley. Here we go. Okay, so this is episode 5 of The Valley. Can you believe it's only been 5 episodes? I think I said this the other day, but I feel like we're like the 20th episode. Like that's this much trauma packed into these first 5 episodes. It's entitled Grapes of Wrath, and the description the cable company gives us says, Nia is blindsided when Zach tells her that some of the group has been talking behind her back, which, by the way, that event happens in the last 2 minutes of this episode. So I feel like whoever writes these just watch the last 2 minutes, because there are other things that happen in this. I wonder if sometimes the people that write these are just so tired of these shows. They're just like, fuck, I don't know, just show me the last 2 minutes. And then they write their description based on that. I think about the Valley so much now because I watch it multiple times. And I think the thing that I try to reconcile, I guess with any reality show, but especially with The Valley, and you really sense this with The Valley, is that these people all claim, in fact, they do a toast to friendship at the end of this episode in Santa Barbara. And I'm just like, what kind of friends they literally leap at the chance to throw anyone under the bus. Like anything, any weird behavior, they are so thrilled. It's like a dog with a bone. You see Danny sneaking some tequila. Oh, that storyline right there. And then everybody explodes with that. Now, Danny, it was revealed in, I think, last week's episode that, we have Dark Side Danny, I keep calling it Dark Wing Danny, where he gets way too drunk and he told Jasmine to go get Daddy a drink and then grabbed Jasmine's girlfriend's butt, which is just so insane. And he does get drunk in this episode and then goes and sleeps it off. And the big fight at the end is with Brittany saying like, my husband's in rehab. Say your husband's drunk. And Nia's like, he's drunk. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with the behavior that we saw tonight. Also, listen, I don't know at what age this stops happening, but if you get to cut loose, and I would imagine, especially if you have kids, yeah, you're going to overdo it. And Danny especially should watch it. But I don't think him sneaking like tequila, I mean, that's shitty, but obviously he doesn't want to do it in front of the cameras. But it's a storyline, and this dude is just snoozing in bed, and everybody's fighting about this around him. And it's like, yo, wake his ass up and talk to him about this. But it's almost like they're trying to drag the storyline into the light because then they can talk about it and have scenes about it. All the while, this Jax Taylor is in a mental health facility, still rage texting Brittany. And, you know, Brittany obviously seems like she is at some sort of end of her rope, which how could you not? But it is, by the way, this is a great episode because we don't see any kids. When you see the kids in these episodes, it really freaks me out. I'm just like, because when I watch other reality shows, I'm like, well, at least they don't have kids. And then everybody has kids in this one pretty much. And you're like, damn, oh, this is going to hurt the kids. This is going to hurt. They're going to talk about this with a therapist one day. You just know they will. And Jax Taylor, it's like Darth Vader. You know, even when Darth Vader isn't in those Star Wars movies, you just sense the presence of Darth Vader. So the presence of Jax Taylor is always there. It's like a thick, farty fog. But he's not there, and the show continues to chug along at a great clip. And it just shows you that Jax Taylor is not the only messed up person in the Valley. And I think we've got a really good show on here, but it is interesting because you're already pitting the cast against each other in the sense that they really are. There's no such thing as a secret with this cast. And I love that. That makes for a good reality show. But at the same time, I always just wonder what's in it for this cast to keep going to the same well. And I guess the obvious answer would be money, fame, all of that stuff. Now, Kristen, Doute, and Luke, they end up being almost one of the saner, if not the sanest couple on here. Luke getting great points this week for being a man and diagnosing a van that broke down. The way I saw ladies hot and bothered online about this, you would have thought this guy is Antonio Banderas in his prime. They were like, woo, a man who can, whoa, amazing. And then you have Jesse Lally, which, by the way, thank God we didn't see those shit gray Depends underwear that he was wearing at the end of last week's episode. But we do see a lot more of his nipples this week, and he is right. One points out to the right and one points out to the left. And he loves a moment where he can take his shirt off. And by the way, we're complaining about Danny's drinking. Why are we not talking more about Jesse just pounding champagne or pounding like wine the entire time? Like the dude, this episode starts with him getting an early rise in the morning after his freak out in the underwear at last episode, and he's up early already drinking, looking out at the ocean. It's like the old man in the sea with a potential alcohol problem. But Doute almost really does lean into this ethereal mother vibe that she's always talked about, but I'm starting to see it more and more, where you can even sense in this episode where she's like, I don't know, you guys, come on. Everybody drink. Like she's literally like, by the way, Doute is also, it seems like she's pounding drinks, but she's not acting egregious in any way. And then she goes, you know what? I had to take a Valium too because I get weird with people fighting. And I'm like, I love a Valiumed out drunk Doute, but still at peace with herself. That to me is growth. And Luke's out there diagnosing cars. Love it. Amazing. Now, last week's episode, we also had, remember, a spiritual healer come. A lot happened. Danny had to go back for a voiceover gig, so he comes back to the winery in this episode to catch up with everybody. Janet, I thought, had some really funny moments and funny lines, and she also mended fences with Zach Wickham, but Zach was upset that Brittany, his best friend from Kentucky, told Janet, you know, things about his behavior that he feels should be under the cloak of friendship secrecy, this is what I'm saying. Like anybody will say anything. And I can't tell if this is something that is like internal within them, that they all just love to shit talk and spill secrets, or they do it because they know eventually it'll be good content for the show. Like, does the show push them to be worse people? Because you know, any of these shows don't push anybody to be great people. You know, like it's, I mean, even Carl Radke on Summer House, I remember when he stopped drinking, even I was like, oh, really? How's that going to work? Like, how's that going to work? Man, I hope he doesn't launch a bar one day without any alcohol. Oh, he did. Okay. No, but like you kind of are primed for bad behavior. And I think we see that with all of this cast. And Nia, this is somebody that seems to pop up in the weirdest of moments. Like if somebody is having some sort of trouble, Nia all of a sudden magically appears. She reminds me of the old Bachelor host, Chris Harrison. Anytime on The Bachelor, when there would be a troubling moment, Chris Harrison, it seemed like he would like be ready to step out of the shadows. He'd be like, I heard you had a rough time in there. How are you? Like Nia's always there of like, you look pretty right now. Are you okay? Like, does she get like some sort of internal sense that that somebody's having a bad time and that she can help? Like, it's angelic in a way. And yes, they are getting branded, Danny and Nia, as somebody that are trying to act way more perfect than they actually are, which was the last time I remember hearing that a lot was with Sandoval and Ariana. That was like the same things that they were saying about them back in the day when they were together. And I think that's like, by the way, if you are uber Christian and you have a bunch of kids and you're trying to get pregnant again, yeah, you're probably going to be on your best behavior or at least try to. I don't think that is out of the norm. And nothing was so egregious in this week's episode where I was like, bring it out. This is ridiculous. The dude passed out. I didn't feel like he was hiding from cameras. He legitimately, come on. You've all had a couple too many and went and slept it off, which was the better choice for your actual life. So you weren't embarrassed as hell, because when you do that to a very severe degree, and then you end up out, like, trouble happens. And yes, you want that, but like Brittany's like, come on, it's not fair. It's not fair. I have also seen people say that Brittany is starting to think of herself as the center of the show, and that is just not going to hold any water, that she is not able to be the center of the show. I don't think that to be true at all. In fact, I don't see her wanting to be that. I think she's just very lost and confused. And she is somebody that has been trauma conditioned being with Jax Taylor for a decade, where I'm sure even though he is in a mental health facility, she is still, like they have a son together. How do you not go back and forth in your mind, not about getting back together with him, but just trying to reconcile the last 10 years of your life and how you played a huge role in that. And now you're not covering for him anymore when that was primarily your main job for so many years. Even when you were fired from Vanderpump Rules and didn't have a job, you were still protecting Jax. So there's a reckoning that I think is happening within Brittany that I hate the word grace on Housewives, but I think you do have to give a little grace. But it is going to come out, I believe, in many messy ways that the audience is going to feel weird about. They're going to be like, how dare Brittany say this about Nia at the end of the episode? That, it is. It's shitty in the moment, but I can understand. Like, we do shitty things when we are at a high level of trauma or stress. We say and do stupid, shitty things. Yeah. And that's all I got to say about that. I'm Forrest Gump. We start off the valley where we see a shot of Jesse Lally drinking outside in the morning. The old man in the sea, looking out at the beautiful ocean. We see Janet waking up, FaceTiming with her baby. The baby didn't actually call Janet. Janet's mom called Janet on FaceTime. The baby wasn't like, Mom, I learned to use FaceTime at, 5 months old. We see Jasmine and her girlfriend wake up. They're complaining about how hot it is in the house. And then we land on Brittany, who is in bed with Zach Wickham. And I will say, like, Zach does have some zingers. He does. But also, this was pointed, like, this is just something I'm curious about. Why doesn't Zach and Brittany are from the same, they grew up together in Kentucky, right? Why doesn't Zach have an accent at all? And Brittany has the strongest, like the accent seems to have gotten stronger over the years. Like Rebecca always says she thinks Brittany's faking the accent. And I don't think it's that. But why do we not hear any accent from Zach at all? Like, did Zach wash the accent away? But anyways, they're in bed together waking up. And Brittany's like, Zach, why do you have a full 2-liter of Diet Coke besides you? And he said, this is for energy. And then he had some water, which, by the way, it is so sad. But we see ourselves in these shows, and it is so sad for me to say, I've done that, man, dude. I've had a full 2-liter of the Nectar of the Gods Diet Coke by my bedside, right? And then He also has an empty container of onion dip on this nightstand. And he was like, I was eating chips last night and I fell asleep with it on my chest and I rolled over. And she's like, in the bed? And he's like, yeah, that's why I'm sleeping on a towel. And she's like, oh my God. I've actually done that as well. It's not been onion dip, but there's been so many different foods that I've done that with where I've fallen asleep. just stress eating and then waking up. So unfortunately, I have to acknowledge that I guess I'm Zach Wickham. Sorry, Zach. So then we cut to Doute and Luke, who are in the kitchen cleaning up. And, you know, they're talking about they made breakfast, but nobody got up in time. And then Jesse Lally's there, and he's like, I cleaned this entire house this morning, and it already looks like shit. In a talking head, he says, my expectations for Santa Barbara with Michelle were we'd get back together and have another kid. No, he says, we could leave everything at the front door and just coexist together. But this bitch wouldn't even take the white flag that I purchased from Party Supply Store. No, he didn't say any of that. But they do flash back to the white flag where Michelle wouldn't take the white flag. And he got all butthurt about that. And he goes, but she has been cold as ice. Also, do you notice this about Jesse, especially in his talking heads? He's very damp. His face is very damp and dewy. And I don't know, like, I literally was looking, I was like, are those tears or is it just sweat or does he just have a natural dew about him? I'm like, it's just like the leaves when you wake up in the morning is Jesse's face. We see that flashback to Michelle and Jesse crying at the spiritual healer ceremony in the backyard last night because Michelle couldn't really think of a great moment to say about Jesse when she got the blue ball. If you have not seen any of these episodes, they were passing around a blue ball. He goes, unfortunately, I was triggered by Michelle. Can we maybe have a conference about the word triggered? Can we talk about, like, I feel like we're misusing the word triggered potentially. And Jesse Lally, like, it's a buzzword now, which kind of like almost makes the meaning of the word so much less valuable. Like we're all, like, nobody's even saying it correctly. Like everything can't be a trigger, you know? But it's a response caused by a particular action, process, or situation. And I just feel like Jesse seems to get triggered all the time. And the thing is, what he's triggered about, really, at the end of the day, is that his wife cheated on him, right? That's what it is. And he lost her, even though I don't think he wanted her. I think he wanted to keep her as a trophy. And I think Jax had a similar thing. And I think this is unconscious. I don't think this is at the top of their head or they would acknowledge or even, you know, realize that this is how they're feeling. But that's what he's upset about because Michelle is doing nothing to Jesse in the present moment except for existing. And I think the sheer fact of her existence annoys him. I think it really, really bothers him. And so that is coming off and he's just getting triggered by everything. We flash back to the night before with him in his dirty gray undies where he is talking to Jason Caperna, the angel, where he's like, I will drive home right now. So go the fuck downstairs, please. And I have a feeling this Jason Caperna could drop Jesse Lally with 2 hits. And it would be me hitting you, you hitting the floor. And this Jason Caperna, he just hangs back. But I know this dude could go. Anyways, we cut to Jesse already pounding the champagne around Doute and Luke. And I love that he's pouring a big glass of champagne. So Doute's like, win in Rome. And we see Doute pour a big glass of champagne. And Jesse's like, I was up real early. I wanted to leave. But then I decided. And she's like, you figured it out? He's like, yes, I figured it out. And she's like, and decided you shouldn't? And Luke's like, oh, you decided you don't remember enough from last night and you're assuming you have to fix something? And Doute's like laughing and Jesse's cleaning. But Jesse gets along with Luke and Kristen, so he will accept this kind of talk with them. Anybody else said this shit about Jesse, he'd be like, are you interfering in this conversation? Jesse says, tonight I have some chefs coming over to cook dinner for this entire group. In a talking head, he goes, maturity is being able to put aside what you're going through personally for, you know, the benefit of the group. Let's just drink some wine, have some fun, jump in the pool. We'll figure it out in 2 days. Simple. Yeah, totally natural. I totally think that's the vibe that Jesse is giving off. And that in no way is he bringing bad vibes at all. The man is an. We cut to Nia and Michelle in a bedroom, and Nia points out of like, oh my God, I already saw Jesse drinking this morning. That's crazy. Wow, what you do? My husband does it at night behind my back. But Michelle's like, listen, last night I didn't want to pass him the ball because I don't want communication, which it is so funny, the like activities that they do in reality series, because you have to say something like completely insane, like I didn't want to pass the communication ball, when in reality it's just I don't want to communicate with this man. But Michelle says he knows that that was going to bother me last night, and I want to move on and I want to be happy, and he's trying to make sure that I'm not. In a talking head, Michelle says Jesse's absolutely insane for thinking that I would say anything nice about him when a few days ago he called me an escort. Sorry to laugh. That is, you have to keep reminding yourself, he said some batshit crazy things. He's just really charming when he does it. And then it gets brought up again and you're like, yeah, that's a really shitty thing to say. But Nia's like, I see you're in a place where you're very light and joyful and happy, but he's always pulling you back down. And yeah, it's like, you probably shouldn't have agreed to be on this reality series together. So we go back to Zach and Brittany's phone beeps, and he's already talking about not wanting to be at a winery because they don't like wine. I was like, oh my God, Brittany wishes there was like a Fireball winery or something. Is there a whiskey sour winery? But anyways, Brittany obviously is getting texts from Jax. And she's like, Jax is already starting in texting me this morning. And she's on her phone. And Zach's like, which Jax are we getting? We are getting a Jax that is starting to understand. He said, I have to tell you, they figured out I'm bipolar, not depressed. And Zach's like, if he is actually diagnosed bipolar, and they really said that, because again, we never know if he's lying or not, which is the truth. He needs to be on medication. That is regimented. He cannot miss it. You know what I mean? Brittany in the talking head goes, I'm so glad that Jax is in this facility, that he is getting help, and I want him to do good there. But it is also such a mind fuck for me. He is messing with my emotions 24/7. This is extremely hard for me. She tells Zach, as long as he's not rage texting me, like that is a big positive because it's really hard for me to handle. The rage text all day long. And we do a flashback of him rage texting her in last week's episode again and again and again and again. And then at the race car thing, again and again, rage texting. And that really is, it's funny kind of in a way that we can go like, oh, Jax, but it's scary as hell. Zach says, you need space from him. You need actual space. And she's like, I'm trying. Zach goes, unfortunately, I think Brittany has been trauma trained. And she tells him, I just don't want to argue. I just don't want to fight. Zach says he has her in a state where she is emotionally abused. I'm doing everything I can possibly do, Zach says, to make sure that there is no way that they get back together. But Zach just wants to have fun today. Also, the after show is fascinating because they talk about this moment, and it turns out that Jax was actually diagnosed as bipolar a time before, like a year and a half ago, and then just didn't take the meds. So this is not the first time that Jax has been diagnosed this. Now, this is such a bad representation for any sort of mental health, but you've got to want it. And he was like, yeah, then I took the pills for a week and nothing happened. So I told my doctor I'm not taking it. Now, with SSRIs and antidepressants, anybody will tell you it takes 4 to 6 weeks to actually have it kick in. And you do have to be regimented about it so you can kind of start feeling the benefits of that antidepressant. And once again, that is not a fix-all at all. But the fact that he was already diagnosed with this, but then is still trying, and you just know, it's like we've all studied this man Jax since 2012. So you know all of the ins and outs and what he's trying to do. And if he doesn't get it this way, he'll pivot to the left and it'll be nice. And then he'll be angry and then it'll be nice. And that is an attribute of being bipolar. But he's also just so used to being able to get his way. And ugh. So now they're loading up to go to the winery, and Brittany's like, Jesse had 2 bottles of champagne already this morning. And Michelle's like, of course he wants to go to a winery so he can show off all that he knows about wine. Jesse's like loading the cooler into the van with the guys. And he's like, all right, guys day, guys night. Not shout out to James Kennedy. But I love that this dude has already pounded 2 bottles of champagne in the morning, and we are supposed to trust things that he says, right? So they get into this kind of like, I don't know, this, I wouldn't call it a sprinter van. It's an elevated sprinter van with a stripper pole and purple lights. And it already looks very tragic. It looks like a prom gone wrong. So on the bus, Jesse Lally is already acting like an escort in some ways. He is rubbing himself all over Jason Caperna and Luke. He's dropping it low. He's clapping those cheeks. And Jason Caperna in a talking head's like, yeah, he is being very loud, very annoying. Like Jason, the patience of this man. Doute says in a talking head, is like, she's like, listen, we're already going to a winery and Jesse's drunk. He's already acting like a 29-year-old Kristen Doute in San Lucas. And we flash back to that episode of Vanderpump Rules where Doute's like falling down drunk on the beach. And then Lala, Stassi, and Katie and Doute all got naked in the ocean. I forgot how much they loved skinny dipping. Remember them even skinny dipping at Stassi's birthday in Vegas on the first season of Vanderpump Rules? But can you imagine also if you had Jesse Lally rubbing his bottom on you, knowing that those gray underwears are probably underneath whatever thin layer of jean he's wearing? The thought it sends shivers down my spine. We're all of a sudden having problems with the van. It's breaking down all of a sudden. And Brady's like, are we pulling over? On the way to the winery. This thing is broken down. People are seeing smoke coming in the front of the car. And I was like, oh my God, that means we have a new pope of the valley. But it just turns out the van is broken down. But this Luke, you got to see, this is a real man in action. This is something I would never be able to do in a million years. He's like, let me take a look at this. I'm going to go out to the van. Luke has the guy pop the hood, and he's in there looking at it. He's like, yep, this is, you can tell he knows like his way around a car. He's like, okay, I see there's a crack right here. Okay, he's diagnosing the car. Now, Jesse Lally is fully drunk out of the van, broad daylight, and he starts trying to hitchhike with a red Solo cup in his hand. It's almost like he goes to the University of Santa Barbara, and he's like just a party kid. And his hand is like in the middle of the road almost, where I was like, dude, somebody is going to literally hit your extended arm. And then is that the way you want to go out, where your autopsy photo is you're just like a red Solo cup and like dirty gray undies? But he's out there, he's just fully blasted. It was like me when I used to go to Coachella. This is that kind of behavior. And Jesse Lally, very reactionary. He's like, let's walk it. And the guy's like, no, you can't walk it. It's like 20 miles away. Jesse's like, I'll fix this problem. Let's start walking. Let's do this now. I need to get to Daddy needs his juice. Michelle says that she's glad that everybody's seen Jesse's behavior because this is what she had to deal with through their entire marriage. This is how Jesse is. Luke's out there being all man. He's like, my concern is that it's busted. There's a crack there, sir. And it's going to be limping along. Like when I talk about limping along, I'm usually referring to myself. This man is talking about a car. But he's like, hey, he's telling the driver, he's like, keep the AC off. There'll be some steam coming off of it, but just take it slow. Watch the engine temperature. And like Luke's like, okay, let's get to the gas station. Like Luke that was potentially the most exciting moment of the Valley this season. I mean, if you say like non-traumatic exciting moment of the season. So this thing is not going to be able to go up the hill. So they're going to go to a gas station and get a couple of cars and then go from there, right? So they start calling these cars Ubers. And then Nia's on the phone with Danny. And we hear Nia go, are you leaving Warner Brothers now, Danny? And she goes, okay, I need you to stop by the house for multiple reasons. You're not. And then she goes, you're not. No, you do not say that. Listen to your wife first, please. And then she goes, oh, sorry. Because everybody man, you really get a more clear sense of aspects of Danny and Nia's relationship of like, no, you will not come straight from Warner Brothers. You will get the fucking house because I have 3 things I need you to pick up. And you're going to do it with a smile on your face, Danny. You got it, Nia. You got it. Yeah. But anyways, Brittany's right next to Nia, and she's like, ho, 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 whoa, whoa, whoa. Nia got upset. And then she goes, thank you. Love you, Danny. Bye. Bye. They get to the winery, this Grassini family winery, and I guess Jesse Lally took a nap in the car ride over, and he says he's still not feeling like a new man. And I love these people that run the winery. They're like, hi, I'm Katie, and this is my husband, and we run this winery. And, you know, just like they don't even realize the dark force that the Valley brought with them to this winery. The winery did shut down a week after the Valley cast went there. I don't know if no, it did not shut down at all. It looks actually so beautiful. And they're sitting down to taste the wine. And Zach's like, I'm not going to sip the wine. I'm going to drink it like an adult. Because you're supposed to do the sip and the smell, and you got to it's like there's like a romance about the whole winery experience. I love wineries, but there's like this kind of romantic thing where you get really snooty and you're like, yes, I will have a little block of cheese with this wine. But Brittany, you can just tell. And by the way, I was trying to think, like, Brittany would probably like a nice Moscato, but she doesn't like this, and she's pouring it into like Michelle's glass. She's like, you can drink it. And then Brittany, anything Brittany says, she'll always include a laugh or a chuckle after her. So she's like, you can drink it. And then Jesse's like, Brittany, you can just spit it out. You can just spit it out. And he's like, Britt, why don't you just spit? And so Brittany does take the little wine spit bucket and she spits and she goes, And then Janet's like, do you spit normally? And as soon as Janet asked that, I was like, Janet, we don't need that question because I know she's going to give us an answer. And it's just something that I don't want an image in my head of. And then Brittany goes, I'm a swallower. I'm a swallower. I had a hunch. Like, I was like, yeah, I'm a swallower. And Brittany's laughing. As long as everybody's having fun, right? Zach's in the sun and he's not liking it. So Jesse switches seats with him. Very kind of Jesse. Because Jesse was like, I love the sun. And that's interesting because most horrific vampires do not like direct sunlight. So we're still pouring like different wines, you know, and I love Jason Caperna. Jason Caperna is just a natural father because he was like, Jesse, that was very nice of you to switch seats with Zach. Like, Jesse needs encouragement to do basic human kindness. Like, Jesse, that was a good move, pal. Hey, bud, great stuff. We hear a noise on the walking path of the winery, and it's Danny Bucco. Hey, let's have some fun. In a talking head, he goes, this morning I had an early call time to do this voiceover job. I was sober the day before. Everyone else was drinking and having fun, getting hammered. And so now that I finished my job, time to catch up a little bit, have a little fun myself. Not sip this wine, let's drink this wine. And then we cut to a montage of Danny just doing like wine keg stands and just fun, just bathing in wine. He doesn't do any of that, but he does just start going at the wine. He's like, yeah, give me this, give me that. People are filling up his cup and he is downing this wine. And then, you know, it's obviously frustrating to many people at the table when somebody overdrinks, even with this crew. But what offends me the most is when somebody overdrinks repeatedly. I just get upset when it doesn't seem to affect their body at all. Like Danny seems like I get the same feeling when I watch Kyle Cooke go about his business, which, by the way, I have a conspiracy theory that Kyle Cooke doesn't even drink Loverboy. He just always has one glued to his hand. I don't even think he drinks it because I'm just like, how are we, Kyle, really? Like, you're drinking this much Loverboy? You never want to switch it up? But then I realize it's probably not even full and it's just product placement. But yeah, I'm just pissed that he looks in shape. Like, I want somebody completely out of shape if they are doing things like this. Danny is like, I have my own way of testing and drinking wine. You smell it, and then you look at the legs going down. And Jesse's like, the legs have nothing to do with the wine, by the way. But Danny just keeps going, sniffing and drinking. But I love that Jesse needs to that is not how wine tasting works. Have you ever met those snots? The ones that get really into wine and want to make you feel less than? Oh my gosh. It's like a secret club that you weren't invited to. And you're like, yeah, I like wine, but I don't need to be an asshole about it, right? So there's a montage of Danny getting like glass after glass of wine given to him. And, Nia's like, you're caught up, hun. You're caught up now. And he's like, do you have any more rosé? And the sad thing is Jasmine and her girlfriend are watching all of this. In a talking head, Jasmine says, we all know how Danny can get when he's drinking. He has just one too many, and it's just like, boom, because we all know what happened at Big Bear last year, which, remember, Danny at Big Bear at the baby moon, right? So also, his behavior towards Jasmine and her girlfriend, that is something where I would really almost watch myself even more around them just to make sure they are not uncomfortable, which obviously they are. So that is like, dude, I get it. He's without his kids, wants to cut loose with his friends. But if you did something like that and you're already apologizing for it, you do have to kind of take that extra step and go, I want to make sure they for sure are comfortable around me. Michelle asked Jasmine and Melissa how they met. They met at a bar, and I guess Jasmine was like a little like touchy-feely with Melissa. And because she was just like, I'd never met somebody like her before. And they exchanged social medias. Jasmine says, Melissa and I have been together almost 4 years. She's just like the perfect person. And I just never have been with somebody who like supports me even through my craziness. She allows me to be me. And that's like what I need. I love when a reality show character will drop a word like craziness, because we haven't fully seen Jasmine get balls to the wall crazy. She's almost in a friend of position. Zach was in a friend of position as well last year, but they are giving Zach a lot of heavy lifting already this season, and they've given him, his Benji boyfriend storyline. So this is interesting that they're giving Jasmine and Melissa, we're getting introduced more to them. But the craziness line is the one that I'm paying attention to, because I'm like, will we see Jasmine's full on crazy side? But anyways, Brittany's like, I love it. Oh, I love. I want to get my sparkle back. Woo! Anyways, Janet tells Zach, she's like, hey, Zach, I have to tell you something. Before we were, when we were not good, when people would ask about your hair, I would say, yeah, it is a wig. And Brittany's like, ow! And Zach is very ecstatic that Janet made a joke with him. And, that's a nice step. But at the same time, I thought that was an interesting moment too, because it also just says Janet will flat out lie about you potentially, which I thought that was like an interesting moment. But everybody's happy in the moment. And I do think that is a very funny lie about Zach. Jesse's looking at the surroundings and he's like, look at this fucking view. It literally looks like Monet. And then Luke goes, never been to Monet, but it is gorgeous. And Jesse, this is like, it's like catnip for him. He's like, did somebody say something about something that they don't potentially know about, but I do? And he's like, did you just say you've never been to Monet? And Luke goes, okay, I know it's art. It's an artist. And Luke's like, yeah, but the way you said it, it's like Capri, Monet, Saint-Tropez, And Jesse goes, you? No culture. If I was Luke, I would stand up and I was like, who fucking diagnosed that fucking car? I'm an actual man. I can rough it. And then Luke's like, well, you, not manly. Luke is dead on. He's a man of few words. So Danny is still pounding wine. Michelle's phone rings, and I guess it's like the babysitter. And she's like, how's Isabella? And I guess puts Isabella on the phone. And Isabella's like, what's up, Mom? I'm fine. I'm here with the babysitter. It's me, Isabella. And when Michelle's on the phone, standing up, Jesse goes and walks over to Michelle. And Michelle looks so defensive immediately. And he's like, can you and I speak for a second? Hey, Dad, I hear you in the background. In a talking head, she goes, I'm disgusted with him. And it's going to take me so long to forgive him. So she gets off the phone with, bye, Mom. She goes, if Jesse's going to make me talk to him, the least he can do is start with an apology. So she gets off the phone and they are at a side table just staring at, or he's staring at her. She's kind of like looking down, right? And all the gang at the table, they can tell that, oh God, Jesse and Michelle are having a conversation. Janet's like, tensions have been so high around this trip leading up to it. I'm very nervous that they're not in a place where they can be having a calm one-on-one conversation. Oh, hell yeah. The producers are banking on it, man. So Michelle finally goes, are you okay? And he goes, yeah. Are you okay? The same way Patrick Bateman from American Psycho would say it. And she goes, fine. He clears his throat, warming up. He goes, I think it was a joke to wave the white flag when you arrived. But I think you and I need to have a serious conversation. Are you happy? And she goes, I am happy besides you. And he goes, great. And she goes, if you weren't in the picture, yeah, I'm actually very happy. And he goes, okay, so if you're very, very happy, can you not be happy for me in my relationship? Also, didn't Jesse just say that the girl was no longer with him, like last episode or the episode before that? So now he's like, well, then why can't you wave the white flag for my amazing relationship? But Michelle's like, are you joking? Go and be happy. Like, I'm not happy with who you're with. I'm sorry. Because remember, this girl that he's with has threatened her with like lawsuits and threatened the gang with lawsuits. Yeah, I call him a gang. In a talking head, she goes, this reminds me of our marriage. He doesn't understand what he did wrong. And instead of starting off with an apology, he turns it around and he makes everything about himself. Dude, this is just Jax Taylor in better clothing with like a taste for wine. You know what I'm saying? This is like Jax Taylor with a taste for caviar. Michelle's being selfish. That is who he truly is to his core. And I will say this too, because I see Michelle getting a lot of flack, but like she had to live with this man. I feel like she picked up on a lot of things throughout the course of their relationship, but it does beg the question, did they ever like each other? Like, what was it like when they got married? What was the vibe? Like, I almost want to see old wedding videos and old videos of them hanging out. Was there a happy time? She tells him, she goes, I will never be okay with somebody who threatens me. I just won't. So then they go flashback to that scene where they talk about her sending the cease and desist, Jesse's girlfriend. I will say in the flashback about the cease and desist, I always pick up on little ways people say things. And Michelle, the way she says threatening, she goes, threatening. She like, it's like when Lisa Barlow, like how Lisa Barlow would say I'm frustrated right now. But she's like threatening. Like she makes an extra syllable in threatening to sue me. Threatening. I don't know. Those little things, I love those little details. Anyways, Jesse's like, in this scene, he's like, you and your friends are. And she goes, I'm not doing anything. The only thing I told you, Jesse, is go live your life. Go do whatever. And he goes, I would. And she goes, let me speak. And everybody's like, oh, I heard that. Even Danny's like looked up from his like chugging wine. He's like, what's that? And now he's kind of has this like creepy smile. And she's like, yeah, go ahead and smile. In a talking head, he's like, Michelle has a way of getting under my skin. And she's the only one that can do it. Bullshit. I have dude, do you see the way he talks to the other women anytime they like come up to say something? He's like, are you inserting yourself? I feel like so many people get under his skin. But he's like, when I get triggered by Michelle, I do not know how to diffuse the situation. She says, Jesse, I thought you were coming here to try to apologize. And he's like, apologize to who? And she's like, oh, great. Oh, great. She goes, look at you. You're a disaster. And then he goes, and you're the hooker, so it's fine. My man. Listen, you can appreciate a horrible good line, and you're a hooker. You're a lady you're a Julia Roberts pretty woman without the Richard Gere to give you the expensive baubles. That's who you are, Michelle. But Michelle stands up immediately. She's like, I am not doing this. I'm not doing this. And everybody's like, oh shit, she's up. And then she like walks over. I think she's talking to a producer and she's like, I am not doing this. And they're all like, Michelle, come here. But nobody actually stands up to go get her at first. And then she screams. She's like, you can't do that. I'm the mother of your fucking child. You're a loser. Now I feel like I'm in wine country, right? And then she goes, you fucking spend all of our money. You are the one. And then he goes, speaking of spending money, let me pull up and then Michelle's like, yeah, pull it up. Pull it up. He's a fucking disaster. Let me pull it up. And then Jasmine's like, Zach, grab her and bring her over here. And then Brittany's just, Michelle, come over here. Get up. Somebody get up and grab her. But Janet's like, Michelle, it's okay. Do not let him get you like this. So they're all like a lot of the girls are surrounding Michelle. They're like, just breathe. Just breathe. Just like Sia said, just breathe. And Luke goes over to Jesse and Luke's like, dude, what happened? You know, he's like, you didn't even know what fucking Monet was. No, he goes, dude, what happened? And Jesse goes, I think it's going well. And he goes, you think it's going well? So then Michelle keeps talking. He goes, let me make it straight so there's no confusion, Jesse. Our friend and our client sent us money for Isabella's birthday, and you were more than happy to take it. He also sent us a wedding gift. And Jesse's like, it's okay, Michelle. It's fine. And she goes, it's not fine. People deposit money to you. I have proof. So she's saying he has gotten money like as gifts deposited for the family that he just went and spent. And then she found out about it. That's what I take from that. And in talking to Ed, Michelle goes, if anyone should be an escort, it's him because he's the one who's broke. Then Michelle tells Jesse, you want me to show that? And then she drops the bomb. She goes, why is a gay guy sending you money? And Zach kind of like purses his lips and laughs. And he's like really dramatic. Dun, 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 dun. And we cut to commercial. Also, I mean, by the way, when I hear sending a gay man money, my interest is piqued. Like, I don't think Jesse in any way is any sort of escort, but I do think he might send some pictures. Check me out in my gray underwear diapers. Do you like this? There's more where this came from. For $250, I'll give you all the shots of my baggy gray undies that look like a baby's diaper. How do you like them apples? We come back from commercial and Michelle's like, why is a gay guy sending you money on your birthday? We cut over to the other table and Zach is passing a bottle of wine to Danny. Danny's just keeping on, right? So everybody's like, whoa, what is going on? And he's like, apparently, if gay guys send me money, that's a bad thing for Michelle. Zach in a talking head goes, girl, we don't want him. Or you do not try to give him to us. I also love that this dude did like get Venmo from like wedding gifts and for Isabella. Isabella's like, that's my money, Dad. You took money out. I could buy heels with that. Anyways, Nia's now talking to Michelle. Nia's like, don't let him talk to you. Like, by the way, Nia's like, I would fucking clear Danny if he ever talked to me like this. But Janet's like, he doesn't get access to you anymore like this. Brittany goes over to Jesse and Brittany's like, hey, Jesse, the fact that you just doubled down and called her a hooker, that's what you need to apologize for and make it very clear to all of your friends that you were lying. And Jesse just very calmly goes, are you inserting yourself right now? And she goes, I am, yes. I am because she is my friend. And then Jesse goes, of course it's a lie. Now it's a lie? Dude, this fucking, you brought it into the boys chat, the chat from hell, and now all of a sudden you're like, it's a lie. And then he goes, I'm a fucking asshole for even saying that. Everybody's like, thank you. That's all I was at. I didn't want to send you to a mental health facility like my husband, Jax. But Brittany's like, that's all I needed. I'm going to go. And he's like, no, we are having a conversation. And Brittany's like, nope. In a talking head, Jesse's like, I don't believe this rumor. I regret ever sending it to the boys chat, which I won Best Rookie of the Year. I will remind you every time we bring up the boys chat. Certainly, I never even thought that it would circulate. Yeah, how would a salacious rumor like that ever not circulate? Yeah, that's a juicy piece of gossip. And you're thinking like, yeah, this boys chat, it's in the vault in the boys chat. Jesse goes, and let's be clear. I never said it was true, so it is not slander. I never said it was true she was a hooker, so I'm allowed to say that without legal repercussions. Luke is advising Jesse. He goes, less is more, man. Less is more. Yeah, diagnose Jesse like you diagnose cars, man. Anyways, they're all talking to Michelle. They're like, that's not even an apology, but they're like, just don't give him the energy. And Michelle's like, I get mad. Start screaming. Brittany goes, I'm so proud of Michelle for getting in there and sticking up for herself. But we're also in this like really expensive, like beautiful place. Anyways, the winery owners come over. They're like, thank you so much. Get the fuck out, for real. This was great. We scared off a lot of people in this beautiful area today, and they're like, sorry for fighting. And she's like, you got to work it all out. We totally get it. Right. But Brittany's like, why can't we go out to a nice place and not cause a scene? Because you're on the valley. You better be causing scenes. Doute was very quiet during this scene. Like, is Doute even there? Like, Luke was there, but Doute was so quiet. I will not stand the Doute erasure here. What? So they get back to the house, and Janet goes into the pantry, and Danny goes into that pantry area too. And I was like, oh my God, are they going to hook up? No, but Janet in a talking head goes, I venture into the pantry. Suddenly, Danny is following me in, and she goes, I see him kind of hunch over and start chugging tequila. The tequila monster. He was hunched over drinking tequila. Janet goes, why do you have to hide it? That would have been a great question for her to ask in the scene. But I think that's what's so dark about reality television is that these people are all supposed friends, but it's almost like, I'm going to keep that information in my back pocket for a scene later instead of like, Danny, what are you doing, brother? And by the way, there must be some sort of conversation before they start these seasons of like, hey guys, just so you know, there are no secrets and we will find out everything, and just know that everything is fair game, right? So now we see Michelle walking up to Jesse's room. We flash back to a scene, them coming back from the winery, where Michelle's like, oh my God, Jesse just texted me. And Brittany's like, what'd he say? And she's like, can we walk down the ocean and talk? Like, fuck no. Are you? What? Why not just talk in a bed of roses? Like, let's go out by this romantic ocean and talk. Can we walk down the ocean and talk? Like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? That's insane. The dude is still shooting his shot. She goes, he does something super shitty to me and then wants to talk to me privately. Walk on the ocean, step on the stones. Anyway, she knocks and he's like, come in. And then he goes, do you want to go outside? Do you want to go outside and close the door and have a conversation? And she's like, fine. By the way, I did see there's a yellow pack of American Spirits on Jesse's nightstand. By the way, if Doute Kemsley can smoke on Bravo, why can't we have Jesse lighten up? Or is that something he doesn't want people to see? Anyway, so they're outside now having a conversation. We hear waves lapping in the distance. There's a lot of silence at first. And also Jesse is wearing that little headband that he likes to wear for some reason to keep his head back. When I shot that Valley Van commercial with Bravo a month or so ago, I brought one of those so he could properly show me how to put it on, but Bravo didn't use that. But I'm the carrot top of Bravo. Anyways, Jesse's like, listen, you're going around telling everybody how happy you are. And she's like, I am happy. Okay, then why aren't you happy for me? And she's like, why are you so obsessed with this girl? We have a child. Okay. And I am in love with this person. So now he's like in full-blown love. And I'm like, I didn't realize it was love, man. I'm sorry. Michelle and I talking to her goes, I don't think Jesse was expecting me to move on. And I think that it hurts him a little bit. And he wants me to acknowledge his happiness so he can believe that he's happy when he clearly isn't. It's just human behavior is so interesting, because she's right. I mean, I think she nails this so much of the time, but also she has to play by the rules of society where Jesse like almost doesn't have to play by those same rules. And he's almost benefiting from like male privilege in a way. And he can just be flat out crazy and an asshole, and then people will make excuses for him and he gets by on that. Right. But Michelle definitely can't do that. Anyways, She goes, all I care about is Isabella. She is constantly telling me, Jesse, that she has a second mommy, and it's not fair. You're not thinking about this because she's going to be one of many. This is going to affect Isabella when you guys are not going to be together. And Jesse goes, who gives a shit? And she goes, who gives a shit, but don't involve my daughter. And he goes, listen, it's my daughter. And she goes, yeah, it's our daughter. Michelle, stop. Anyways, like Luke, Zach, and Jasmine and her girlfriend are outside, but they can hear them like talking outside. And they're just going like, oh my God, they're fucking crazy, both of them, right? And Jasmine's like, dude, Jesse keeps peeping at her. He wants her still. And Zach's like, no. I think it's very much Jax Taylor narcissist. I don't want you, but I'm going to say whatever I need to in the moment to pull you in. And then Jasmine's like, yeah, and he called her a hooker. We cut back up to Jesse. Jesse's like, just be happy for me. And she goes, you called me an escort. You want me to be happy for you? And he goes, she's spending 5 days a week with your daughter. And Michelle's like, yeah, and she shouldn't be. In a talking head, she goes, you started dating her 5 months ago. It's disrespectful. And then Jesse goes, 5 months ago or 2 years ago? And she goes, no. Now he's bringing up her relationship. And she's like, no, not 2 years. And he's like, uh-huh. She goes, that's not even possible. I took care of our child while he was the one always out, she says in a talking head. I already told you the truth, Jesse. I don't know what more you want from me. And he's just staring at her. He's like, do you feel this? The passion, the love? It's still there, Michelle. But then he goes, I think you're a liar and a cheater. And she goes, okay, then think I'm a liar and a cheater. And he goes, okay. In a talking head, he goes, Michelle is trying to create a narrative that I am the bad guy and this is all my fault. And she seems to have videotaped proof of it through the Bravo show, The Valley. But she's like, she is trying to deflect from the truth. Michelle cheated on me and then gave up on our marriage after she cheated. Well, two things can be true at once. But Jessica goes, did you not admit it? And Michelle goes, yeah, I did admit to kissing somebody. And then he goes, did you fuck or did you not fuck? And she goes, you're a piece of shit, Jesse. And the group downstairs is like, holy shit. And Jasmine's girlfriend's like, shh, Jasmine, shut up. I'm trying to listen. I'm trying to eavesdrop. And you hear, fuck you, Michelle says. I came here for your well-being. Look at you. Stop. Look at you. Your child right now. I came here to check for your well-being. You seem perfectly fine. I made a mistake. I made a big mistake in thinking. And then he goes, there's no like downshifting for Jesse because he keeps putting the pedal to the metal. He goes, did you or did you not cheat? And then she picks up a glass of water and just throws the water in his face. It's a perfect throw. And the camera work on this, it's like a long shot. So you see both of them in the shot. It's brilliant. And then she walks out and he goes, I guess you just answered that question. And she goes, what do I have to do to make you stop? She's at the stairwell. Tell me, Jesse, you want me to scream to everybody? He goes, yes. Okay, everybody. My husband refused to hug me and kiss me and tell me I'm pretty. All the while, Jesse is starting to take off his wet shirt because she just threw water on him. And I was like, please don't take off the pants. I do not need to see those undies right now. But you immediately see full Jesse Lally nips. And it is cold there, obviously. But she keeps going, my husband spent all of our money. Jasmine downstairs going, she keeps saying he spent all the money. She keeps saying it again. She goes, I wanted to make sure you were okay. You were okay. I am so sorry. Cut to commercial. I also think this might be Jesse Lally's kink. I think he might truly orgasm after he gets Michelle upset. He's like, ooh, 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 ooh. Anyways, Michelle's downstairs, upset, looking out at the ocean, and Nia's like, I felt a sadness. Hello. You look so beautiful over here. Do you want me to take your picture? And she's like, no. And she's like, Nia, I don't even know why I try with him. But Nia keeps saying, you just look so pretty right now. I'm just trying. And she goes, I don't want a picture taken right now. And she goes, I was just trying to make you laugh. Can we also talk about how people's unfamiliarity with joking, what that means? Like, how in any way is that making somebody laugh? I want to take a picture of you right now. You look beautiful. It's like when Jesse Solomon was like, I thought it was funny with like having a random stranger suck my toe secretly. I was a joke. It was a joke. What do you guys don't get comedy? But anyways, this is another episode where Michelle says she's done and she wants to cut him from my life. Other than picking up Isabella, dropping her off, I am not going to talk to him. The producers are like, hell no, that you will be talking to him. That will not be happening. You will be having conversations with Jesse Lally. Period. So we finally get out of that scene, and the bros, we have Jesse Lally, Luke, and Jason Caperna looking at the sunset, just having an IRL version of the boys chat staring off at the sunset. And they say, where's Danny? They're like, oh, he's napping. We cut to Danny snoring loudly in his bed. He's sleeping it off. By the way, don't we want this rather than him playing grab ass in the house? Nia goes in and checks on him. She's like, hey, boo. And he just keeps snoring, but she keeps talking. Hey, honey. Hey, how you doing, honey bunny? She keeps just like talking to him. And she's like, you're going to continue your siesta or come to dinner? The chef is ready. He just keeps snoring. He doesn't even react to her. And she's like, okay. She's super chill about it. And some could say, well, she's aware she's on camera. She might like really lay into him otherwise. Even Brittany's like, hey, it's dinner time. Dinner time. Get to the table. Come on. So now we have a chef that has cooked this beautiful dinner. Everybody's sitting down. But Danny is going to keep sleeping, according to Nia. Right? He keeps telling the people at the table he's just exhausted. He worked all day. He drove last night, blah, blah, blah. And Brittany's like, I think he drank too much. And Jasmine in a talking head goes, listen, Janet told me about the pantry and that it made her feel uncomfortable. I like that it was like Danny in the pantry with a candlestick. But Jasmine has like a concern because, she was affected by drunk, dark Danny before. She goes, because we all know Danny has an issue with like drinking and he gets kind of inappropriate. I have dealt with this dark side Danny before. But she continues finally out of her mouth telling the story. She says, on Halloween last year, we were all at Jax's bar. Danny definitely had a little too much to drink. Not a little too much. If you're grabbing ass, that's a lot too much to drink. She says he grabbed my thigh and told me to go get Daddy a drink. And I was just like, wait, Dan, sorry, I'm having hiccups. She was like, wait, Danny. I was like, back the hell off me right now. And I found out that he grabbed Melissa's ass too. And then we cut to him apologizing to them on the first episode of the season, right? But also, do we have cameras at Jax's saloon? I feel like we have some raw footage of potentially some of this happening. She said Danny did apologize to us, but just knowing that he's sneaking shots in the cupboard, it's like, if he's going to is he going to do something he shouldn't be doing? You can't just go around grabbing friends' asses and telling people to call you daddy. I mean, but honestly, this kind of, maybe in this friend group you could, or Vanderpump Rules, who knows? Anyways, they all cheers to friendship. And Doute's like, and peace and love, and be kind to one another. Janet's like, I want to be mean, actually. Anyways, the chef comes out and is serving the corn bisque. And Jesse's like, what do we have, chef? You can tell he loves the pomp and circumstance. Chef, tell us what is on the eating agenda tonight. So they're eating the scallops and the bisque. Everybody seems to enjoy the food. Zach talks about being sexually attracted to soup. We hear dings on Brittany's phone. And Zach's like, no, do not check that, Brittany. Not during dinner. She's like, I get it, but I have to. And Janet's like, no, we do need to take your phone. And then Nia goes, Brittany, it's full manipulation, what he's doing, nothing else. In a talking head, she goes, whenever he texts me and does all these things, I can't help myself but look at him or respond. And I don't know why. I've put Jax before me for so many years, and I think that I need help to figure out how to put myself first again. So I think that is almost tipping off a scene where we'll see Brittany deal with some sort of therapist, right? But all of her friends are kind of upset that she's like, entertaining these text messages. And Nia's like, guard your heart. But you can tell Brittany potentially is perturbed with Nia giving that advice. And that's where we end with, Brittany being upset of like, your husband's drunk and you're not talking about that. Because I don't think like Brittany likes to get advice from somebody that Brittany thinks is perfect or trying to be perfect, right? If that makes sense. Anyway, so they bring out the duck two ways and just is like, chef, what do we got, chef? crispy duck skin. I love it. But throughout the dinner, they keep going like, hey, Nia, we should get Danny up. And it almost is starting to feel forced, where I feel like, is a producer like egging them on to keep asking? Because I'm like, yeah, man, I know he's sleeping. We all got it at this point. Nia keeps having to tell him sleeping. But Jasmine's like, I'm sick of this shit at this point. Come on. Now, Doute taps her knife against her glass, like tink, 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 tink. Doute goes, so because I'm super fun and sometimes yelling stresses me out, and I had to go in and take a Valium, I would love to have like a fun, light conversational game. By the way, it took me out when she was like, yelling stresses me out, and I had to take a Valium. I was like, rock on, sister. Remember, they are the one that brought the spiritual healer last episode and did the blue conversation ball, but now they want to have another conversation game. And Doute's just like, who is your hall pass? And Zach immediately is like, Channing Tatum, dumb. Duh. Channing Tatum, duh. And then Jason Caperna kind of shocks me. He's like, I'm a big Lady Gaga guy. Make some music and just, bang it out, I guess. I like that Jason wants to show Lady Gaga his little monster. That's amazing. Janet says she loves it, though. Luke is the big surprise here. Luke goes, well, probably like the Little Mermaid. Rugged outdoorsmen are always going to pick a Disney character. But everybody's really shocked. Luke's like, I'd fuck the shit out of Ariel. Anyways, even Doute in a talking head goes, I feel a little concerned. A cartoon mermaid. Learn something new every day. Oh my God, please tell me Doute dresses up like Ariel at some point. So Nia is like, we don't have any hall passes because we live in LA and we're actually friends with celebrities and meet celebrities. So like, we just can't be like, oh, Chris Hemsworth, right? And Jasmine's like, you have sex with all of them? And she's like, no, but we rub shoulders, and she, because remember, Nia's Miss USA. And Brittany's like, we all live here and we all are going to say what our hall pass is. So Brittany getting more agitated. No, we will talk about who we would do the bump and grind with, Nia. And Jasmine stands up and is like, Nia, we talked about this. Come on. And so remember when her husband dressed up as Jamie Fraser from Outlander, that show last season, and nobody knew who it was. And Nia's like, okay, yeah, Jamie Fraser. Thank you. Jamie Fraser's I'd fuck Jamie Fraser. Okay, got it. So now Nia gets up because she's cold. So she's going to go sit in the sauna for 5 minutes. What? But Zach's like, if you wind up in bed with Danny, I am going to drag you out. You are partying with me tonight, right? Anyways, Brittany's like, come on. And Jasmine's like, he drove all the way here to go to sleep. What is going on? So they seem really concerned about Danny sleeping. And they're like, he drank too much of the wine, but they feel like he's not being honest, right? So Nia goes to check on Danny, and Danny's kind of now like wrestling. He's like, why didn't you wake me? What's going on? And Nia's like, you look like you're living your best life. We have no children to worry about, so keep going. And he's like, I'm catching up on 3 years of sleep. Why did you leave me in here? And she's like, no, I tried to come get you. No, you didn't. And she's like, yeah, I did. I tried 5 times. And Danny, if it makes you feel any better, nobody can keep your name out of their mouth outside. We go back outside and Jasmine is just more riled up. And by the way, I get it because Jasmine was affected by drunk Danny's behavior, but not here, right? But I can't tell what is real and what is they're really trying to hop on this storyline, right? Luke and Doute are actually standing up for Danny and Nia. And he's like, look, they have 3 little kids. Like, I know he drank and he's drunk. I'm not taking that out of it. But I know he's tired all the fucking time. And Doute's like, why does she have to say he's drunk? And Jasmine's like, I'm not saying that, Kristen. And Doute's like, I'm confused. And Brittany's like, I have to share my entire life and everything I'm going through, but nobody else does? So there must be a bigger thing here because I feel like they have more information that they are not presenting us with, because why would they go this hard over something innocuous? Each one of these people, like, come on, like we've all been where somebody's imbibed too much and like gone to sleep it off. Brittany stands up and walks away from this table and a talking head. She goes, I've noticed them not being genuine all day, like little things leading up to this moment. I saw Nia calling him on the phone, yelling at him on the bus, which is that like, you are not You are not coming directly from Warner Brothers. And then we're in the Uber and they're fighting in the back seat. And we cut to that scene that we didn't see. And it was a light fight, just kind of like, a little abrasive. And then Brittany goes, and then we get to dinner and she's saying that he's just tired from his job. I just don't, I'm not getting, it's like, wait, what is she supposed to say? He's fucking hammered. He's fucking hammered. Like, he's not puking over a toilet. He's sleeping. But Brittany's like, I'm done. You guys can be Mr. and Mrs. Perfect 24/7, but my relationship is out in the open for everybody to comment over. That is the price of fame, my Brittany. That is the price of having somebody that you're with that has been on television, reality television, since 2012. Yes, we are going to be infinitely more fascinated with the inner workings of your relationship. We're always going to be more curious about them at this point. We hear Brittany's voice go, just say he's fucking lit, idiots. Jasmine is really riled up at this table talking to Doute, and Doute in a talking head goes, I just feel like people get their titties in a twist over like the smallest, stupidest things. That's so ethereal. This is Stevie Nicks in the flesh right here. I love people just get their titties in a twist. And maybe Danny's a little drunk, but who cares? Did they even bring it up while Nia was still sitting at the table? No. They waited until she left. They had an opportunity to run their mouthful together and get each other all amped up. Boring. I love Doute goes, boring. This is Doute that has been around reality television. She's like, you can't say it to somebody's face. She's like, been there, done that. Season 3, baby. So Jasmine's like, I agree with that, but let me tell you something. We know Dark Side Danny. Stop trying to make Dark Side Danny happen. We can also just say Danny might just get lit too much and grab ass, but I feel like we're trying to make a t-shirt here. Dark Side Danny. Jasmine goes, I get that Nia wants to protect her partner, but playing naive. We're saying the same thing again and again and again. But I feel like there's a piece of information we are not going to get until later in this season because there must be something else for them to go this hard on this, right? Doute goes, I know Nia and Danny at their home with their children. You know, that's the Nia and Danny I also know. And Jasmine kind of gets frustrated with Doute. It's like, fine. Nia's in with Danny going, I'm going to put a blanket over you so you can be more comfortable. Just go to sleep. Just go to sleep, honey. Good night, my love. Good night. I'll turn off the lights for you. Sweet dreams, my angel. Doute outside is like, literally everybody at this fucking table has been drinking. Why can't everyone just fucking come and have dinner? And now it's just Doute, Luke, and Jesse Lally. And Jesse Lally is wrapped up in a shawl like Selena Gomez, just sitting there. He's like, I feel a nip in the air. And it's not my nips that point in opposite directions. Jesse goes, Kristen, you're still yelling at nobody, by the way, because nobody but the three of them are out there. And Doute's like, I haven't said a word in like 2 hours. And Jesse goes, he really gets a kick out of Kristen. Anyways, Zach pulls Nia aside and Zach's like, she's like, what's happening? And Zach's like, yeah, you missed something. Okay, so I'm going to tell you, I want to preface it with that. When you walked away, they were like, can we just call a spade a spade? Can we just not say that Danny's like, oh, he's tired and whatever. He's passed out drunk. Yeah, the alcohol. Yeah, he's sleeping. And Nia's like, yeah, obviously. And Zach's like, yeah, you're not denying it. Okay, if I can be real, Nia, there are several people that are like, your relationship's so perfect and you play this perfect card. And she kind of takes this in and Zach's like, I know. And she goes, Janet? And he goes, all of them. In a talking head, Zach goes, Brittany probably highest of all, she tells him, Brittany probably highest of all, which I hate to say. Brittany and Jasmine, they're not saying things to her face, he says in a talking head, which I don't think is cool. Especially because Brittany felt the need to tell Janet that I was talking about her behind her back. Which I love that he's like, I hated that, so now I will do the same to Brittany with Nia. It is a vicious circle, folks. So he's revealing this, and Nia's like, just because your life is burning doesn't mean you need to be like, I would like your life to burn too. And Zach's like, oh my God, I can't. Nia is like, I am so heated in a talking head. Why are my friends speaking about me like this? I love it. She's like, she's going by the normal rules of friendship. She goes, I'm caught off guard. We've been at dinner for 2 hours. If you have something to say it to my face. Zach's like, I don't understand why all of a sudden it's become this thing. And Nia just very calmly goes, let's go. Let's go. I love it. She's like, let's go face this problem. Let's do it. Zach's like, let's just walk to my room. But his room is filled with all of the girls. And Zach's like, oh my God, who's in here? Janet's walking up and you can hear Brittany behind the door. Like, I'm sorry, but she got to start telling the truth. It's fucked up. And you hear Jasmine go, that's what I said. It is fucked up. And so Nia's standing out the door. Janet comes in and Zach's like, oh my God, they see us. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And Jasmine keeps going even though she sees Nia. Oh, your life's on display, but we can't talk about anything else. And Zach's like, whoa, 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 whoa. I do want us all to calm down for a second, okay? Things were very heightened tonight. And Brittany's like, you guys can't talk about a little thing, you know? And Nia's like, tell me what you want me to talk about. You can't talk about how Danny's drunk, obviously. And Nia goes, he's drunk. Well, you wouldn't say that earlier. I love that we can't say that people are sleeping it off. We have to say they're completely inebriated. Brittany's like, I'm upset. I'm going through so much. And Nia's like, oh, so you have to attack me because you're going through something. And Zach's like, oh no, zoinks. Wait, no. Hold on. So Nia's like, tell me what you wanted me to do. And Brittany has that little downturned face that she makes when things aren't going her way. And it just, everybody seems exhausted. And Brittany's like, it's not fucking fair. I'm going through so much. My husband's in rehab and all my friends. I can't even act like her husband's drunk for one fucking night. And they're talking to Brittany goes, I just want you to be genuine. That's it. You don't have to act perfect in front of us. You're okay to have cracks sometimes. But I feel like Brittany's the one with the crack. I don't know. Anyways, Jesse is watching this and he goes, Michelle and I are the most sane people in this. That is actually not true. And it's to be continued, folks, as they always do us. So no preview for next week. But my God, I hope you had a good time. And go listen to the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives interview that we are putting out today as well. I know that's a lot. But hey, man, you might just need a lot of voice today from old RB. Have a great Thursday, folks. And I'll talk to you on Friday for the Summer House recap. Bye.